Yo, I look crazy right now. I love it because it's raw. I've been up since 3 o'clock this morning and I just been laying in bed. Like I said, I've been battling my demons. And when you're in a battle, it's not easy, especially when you're a spiritual warrior and you have a high calling. Even if you don't have a high calling, you choose to pick up the heaviest sword, which holds the heaviest um, responsibility, and you train yourself for so many years holding that heavy sword. Everybody trying to tell you, put the sword down, you're gonna hurt yourself. You ain't hurt yourself yet. And even when you did hurt yourself, you got a couple cuts and you fix and you patch up yourself and you're going back and you're playing with the sword, right? And you're doing all things righteous. And even when, you know, unrighteousness comes in your face and unrighteousness tells you that this is the way that you need to be, and it forces you to be that way, and it changes your perception, and certain things start happening in your life, and then you start leaning a little bit towards that dark side. But like I said, if you lean long enough, you'll bend, and if you bend long enough, you'll forget how to be straight once again. So me bending and bending myself to other people's rules, other people's perception, other people's realities. And I even said, I was in a relationship that was unkind to me, but kind to others. And even when I begged and pleaded to get the same, like, not even the same treatment, but fair treatment, to prove my love, to prove my worth, to prove all this and that, and to prove myself, none of it worked, right? But what it did, it was weighing on my self-esteem. And my self-esteem definitely took a hit. I'm not going to lie and say that didn't happen. My self-esteem took a big hit. And once my self-esteem took a hit, it was like that spiral, right? When you spiral downwards, and my spiral downwards, it didn't really last too long with other people. But what I would say is that while I was spiraling, I was also healing myself. While I was doing all that, reflecting and taking accountability of my actions and the things that I've done and the parts that I've played, after doing all of that, it helped me get to the clairvoyant point that that I was able to reach, and the point that I'm at now. See my nose sweating? As soon as I start feeling that channel, hey, listen, swinging that sword, not knowing that that's the heaviest sword, but it was the most beautiful sword, right? It had all the rainbow colors, right? And as children, we see something colorful, automatically we want to go and pick it up, and not knowing that same sword that I picked up was my sword. It just wasn't the time for me to wield it. It wasn't the time for me to use it. It wasn't the time for me to cultivate my swordsmanship. It was the time for me to be a child, which I didn't really get much of, even though I fought for those chances. I fought for those opportunities, right? When I got banned from going outside, I still went outside. When I got in trouble for things I didn't do, those were the times I snuck outside, because I felt like it was an injustice done to me. So since somebody lied to get me in trouble, I'm going to find a way to get out of trouble and get back into trouble before my father sees me. But then usually my father shows up in the yard walking and see me playing with my friends and my cousins and them, and he don't even say nothing to me. He just watch me, and as I see him and he walk to the house, I just follow him. One thing about my My father is a patient man. That's why I learned. He started teaching me patience from a young age, right? But my father is a patient man. My father, when we out in public and stuff like that and around people and I acting up and misbehaving, my father would just tell me, watch my face. And he would just watch me. And when he watched me, I know. Cut ass book. When he watched me, I already know I in trouble. He ain't had to tell me I in trouble. He ain't had to tell me nothing. Because it's like when you're in a relationship with a woman, right? They train you on how to behave, how to act around them, how to treat them, all this stuff, right? And when you allow yourself to be trained, you deteriorate what makes you you. So you lose your soul, and now that person becomes the world that you're gaining, right? We always think that, oh, money is the root of all evil. It's the love of money. It's the want and the pursuit of that dollar. Because money is green and blue, your heart is green and your throat chakra is blue. So because those two things, and no coincidence, right? There's no such thing as a coincidence, right? So because of those two things, being those two colors, representing those two main factors in your body, that is what makes you evil. That is what makes you evil. I don't hate my sister for what she done. I hate the fact that it was so easy for it to be done, and it was so easy for her to be used against me. When if me and my sister ever had an issue, it was always between me and my sister. It was never because some outside person did this or some outside person did that. Even when my sister used to chase me around the house with the knife, I'm talking about the butcher knife, the big motherfucker, right? The big pointy one. It's not the butcher knife. The butcher knife is the flat one. The pointy one is the meat knife, right? Even when she was chasing me around the house with that, that it didn't make me feel any type of fear, or it didn't make me feel any type of, my life was in danger, right? She was walking like, like Michael be doing, like Michael and Jason just walking, but she crazy. So she would do that shit and smile, but I believe that if I had stopped in my naivety and in my childish heart, if I stopped, then she probably would have did something. But I have that survival and I have that awareness, so I didn't stop, right? But that's why I said like it's the love of money and the love of lying that makes you evil. Your throat chakra is blue. Your heart chakra is green. You're supposed to tell the truth, and you're not supposed to change this and put the dollar bill there. You're supposed to keep this and use the dollar bill as a tool, right? Which is what the government and any other government is doing. They're using the dollar bill as a tool, which is why they use it to pay, and they use it to make agreements, and they use it to make partnerships, and they use it, they use the money. The money don't use them, right? So when you say, oh, it's all about the money, it's not about the money. It's about what the money can do and what the money can do for you. What the money can do for you, I learned from my boss, Jerry, when he was riding them Ferraris in the damn warehouse while we working. 12. Dude have 12 Ferraris in the warehouse. Two beach houses and 2 mansions, right? That's inspiration. And he wasn't at the houses. He was at the warehouse, right? We even worked on Saturday. I think we worked on Sunday because Saturday, that's the Sabbath. So we had Saturdays off, and sometimes we had Sundays off, but you were allowed to come in on Sundays if you wanted to get some extra hours, right? He's a businessman, and when you're a businessman with that type of mindset, coming to America, being a sand nigga, and only having $120, it makes it hard for you to not work for the dollar. Not saying the dollar is now controlling and taking over, but you're working so that way when you stop working, your money continues to work. Your children don't have to continue to work. They could just, fill in for you, right? You could show them the books, show them how to teach them business administration, and teach them computer science. Those are the only two things you need to be able to run a company functional with the actual mindset that you have. Everything else is a team, right? You have your coordinating team that coordinates the warehouse and coordinates the ground, right? And then you have the manager that oversees that, and then it's just managers and managers after that. And then you have to have a CFO, which is going to be the guy taking care of the the bills, the how the money is spent, or where everything is going. He's going to be the one to do the audit on the company before the IRS has to come in and do an audit on the company. That way you know how your money is spent. That way you know where your money is going. That way you know, even if it's a penny at a time getting taken out and going to somewhere else, you'll know. So I'm checking this and I'm realizing every week or every quarter or every time we do a check, it seems to be a couple pennies missing. And you don't think, oh, it's only a couple pennies, he's not going to see that. But when you know business administration and computer science, and you understand business development, and you understand greed, and you understand hunger, then you'll be able to put, two and two together. Somebody that's hungry, they'll take those pennies, right? And they'll probably, have it saved up somewhere or have it stacked up somewhere, but that's still unethical. But someone that's greedy, you'll see dollars missing. You'll see hundreds of dollars missing. You'll see hundreds of thousands of dollars missing. You'll see all this Bernie Madoff kind of stuff that's going on. All this snap $7 million fraud going on. All this PPP loan shit going on, right? Because you follow the money. That's why everything is documented. From the moment Christopher Columbus came to this country, England was already documenting all that stuff. England was documenting and drawing maps, redrawing the maps, not drawing the actual maps of the planet, because the maps of the planet was already drawn. We drew that shit. So they were redrawing the maps to what you see now, which is why everybody thinks the world is a fucking ball. And gravity is the gravity don't even exist. It's called buoyancy. I'm sweating because I'm channeling and it's pretty hot. I have a jacket on. This is my, my sleeping clothes under here. I just threw the jacket on and said, let me go, take a walk, clear my head. Maybe I'll get lucky. And things transpired and I wound up having that luck, right? So I'm feeling the luck. Yesterday, I wasn't feeling the luck at all. Yesterday, I was feeling like unlucky. I was feeling unlucky yesterday, even though, like I say, it's balance, right? I have to be balanced. I have to understand. I mean, I do understand. It's been a long time since I had a moment where I'm feeling overwhelmed, and while I'm feeling overwhelmed, there's so much more negative crap going on around me. Now, if there's anything negative going on around me, it's not around me. It's around wherever anybody else live, right? Like I'm living in a complex, so it's not my energy. Inside my household, it's only my energy. So I am able to know what is my energy. I am able to discern why I started to feel that energy. I'm able to be clear, to have that sixth sense, that shiver that goes up your spine whenever you think of something or whenever you feel something, and then you just get that, you even hum to yourself sometimes when you get them shivers up your spine, right? When that happens, you'll know, I'm speaking about me, right? So I'll know where that energy is coming from because it'll send me a signal, right? And just like how, the Most High, the angels, and your spirit team is always watching. Like somebody could be literally trying to harm you while they're planning it. Your angels are just there looking at them like, okay, so y'all gonna go that way. I'm gonna tell them go this way, and then when y'all go that way, we gonna have something set up there for y'all, and then y'all gonna get caught up, and then they're gonna be going this way, and then they're gonna turn that way, and then they're gonna see y'all getting caught up, and they ain't gonna be aware that it was y'all that was supposed to catch them going that way, and then they're gonna be like, damn, I usually go this way. Right? Don't that happen? Don't that happen to you? I'm feeling lucky today. And I also want to tell y'all, I appreciate all the love and support. Even if I don't get love and support, I still appreciate it, because you know why? One day I'm going to get love and support. And I can't stay talking about how I used to feel. I have to start talking about how I want to feel. I have to start acting as if, not acting, I have to start reminding myself when I stopped being myself, and when I started to change for other people, when I started to change because of other people, not even strangers, not even friends. I'm talking about the people inside the house, right? I still have some what they call daddy issues, right? But it's trauma from the old days affecting the new times. In the Bible, people love reading that book. It says move with the times. And I felt like nowadays, looking back, I felt like my father wasn't moving with the times, because I'm the time. It's my time now. So you're supposed to be moving with me, right? But it wasn't like that. We didn't have the chance. I didn't get the opportunity. So it leaves me to think that maybe in my past life, I was such a bad person in my past life that I don't deserve to have a mother in this one. And I deserve to have my father. Love me like he do. That's why I felt, coming into the, not necessarily the awakening, but coming into the realization of why I was the way I was, it made me feel like, damn, I must be the motherfucker that, I must be the person responsible for all this shit, because how am I so aware of all the things that's going on, and all the things that's happening, and all the things that we're doing, all the things that we're partaking in, and I understand, but everybody else just seems to be so clueless. Even when you tell somebody something, they just don't have the ability to comprehend what you just said, because what you just said is the same thing that the aliens say, or what Thor said to the person when he was gonna explain to him about quantum physics or some other shit, because he said that it'll melt your brain, right? Because a lot of people feel like they're not using, or they're not able to use the full capacity of their brain due to a scientist telling you that, right? So when you believe you're not using your brain to its fullest capacity, when you hear something that you never heard before, it makes your head hurt. And when your head starts to hurt, your brain it gets another wrinkle, because that's knowledge now that you didn't have before, that you now have. And anybody that wants to know about the brain wrinkles, just search that shit up, man. Search up brain wrinkles. I'm not gonna sit here and explain all the things that science already explained, and y'all just don't want to read. Y'all want somebody to come up here and hold a fucking spoon out and put it in your mouth and for you to be fed. I'm the threat. I'm not the warning. Y'all read all the books. Y'all took out all the people that was telling the truth. Y'all made sure that your own people wouldn't believe their power, and y'all made sure your own people wouldn't remember who they are because of some physical thing that y'all think that y'all can gain in the spiritual world. But when we fell in consciousness, them ninjas didn't fall that far in consciousness because they were already where we were going to fall. So if you are a Chinese and you come into America with nobody, no book, no encyclopedia, no language, nobody teaching you nothing, is exactly how the black man and the black woman reclassified from Indian, Niji. That's how we are. That's why Martin Luther King said, I am a stranger or a prisoner in my own home, or I am an exile in my own home. Because the way that we see the earth, it wasn't the way that the earth was, obviously, right? But I'm just letting you know it was on a higher dimensional level. You were able to see structures. Like, let's say you're walking and you trip over nothing, right? In the past, or in a different vibration, in a different level of dimension, you would be able to see whatever that thing was. But since you're so dense on this third dimension, anything lighter than you, it basically exists up there, right? Anything you put air or helium in a balloon, it starts rising, right? But I should have made more sense of that before I even started talking about it. That's why I say it's kind of the right time, but it's not necessarily the right time to start talking about all these dimensional stuff, because people don't understand. It's not able to, I can't put it in three-dimensional explanations. It's something that you have to be able to telepathically communicate with somebody, right? Because in saying it makes it sound stupid, right? When you say certain things, it kind of sounds stupid, but it sounds very intelligent to somebody that's intelligent, right? Somebody that's illiterate, you can't read them stories. You can't show them and tell them, you know, tell me what this word says or tell me what that word says, because they're illiterate, right? So if you're existing and you only believe in this three-dimensional body, and I believe in 9 dimensions, and I believe that I'm sitting in the 9th dimension but stuck in this three-dimensional body, I'm able to access certain knowledge depending on how I train my mind, depending on how I train my body, depending on how I train my intuition, depending on how I train, you know, my prayers, depending on what I eat, depending on what I drink. All that stuff has to do with the effect of it, right? And before any of that, my intentions. That's why I don't give a damn how much scriptures you could fucking spew at me. After the movie The Book of Eli, when the dude said it's not just a book, it's a weapon, after seeing somebody, I forgot what it was, I think it was Spartacus, right? When the guy said, what's this? And what's this? And what's this? Separated, right? The guy said, a book, a cross, and a man. And he said, what, when you put them together, what do you have? You have control. So that car kind of threw me off a little bit. But I'm gonna end it here. All right, I'm blabbing. I've been on here long enough. Almost 50 minutes. Feeling lucky. And I'm gonna end what I was saying. I just remember what I was talking about. Intention. That's why I ask people, how is your heart? Like that song, how deep is your love? I listen to the lyrics of songs because when you write, you're cursing. And once you complete that writing, it's a complete spelling. So a completed curse is a spell. Intention. The lyrics, the words have all the intent. Since you can't sit down with that person and ask them, what do you really mean behind this? You have to take it at face value. You can't dissect something that somebody says. I take it literally. I take you literal. Don't tell me, oh, you took me serious and this, that. I'm going to take you serious every single time, because whatever comes out of your mouth, it comes out of you. And whatever comes out of you it comes from your soul. That's why you got to take time and know yourself. That's why you can't speak Bible talk to me. I've been in Bible study. I've been in Sunday school. I've been at my aunt's house where she had church. And then we had to go to her friend's house where she had church. And then I had to wake up at 12 o'clock Friday night to go to Far Rockaway, New York, to go to the Haitian church. And then Saturday we had more church. And then Sunday we had the actual church we had to go to. So nobody can talk church to me. Nobody can talk Bible to me. I mean, you can, but you can't convince me to go back to believing in that. What they stick on these couple chapters, right? They say that in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Nigga, we in Revelation. In the beginning, it was the root chakra. Why you still sucking? Ain't it? Doesn't it make sense that they stay in the beginning of the book while they want you to remain in the lowest chakra of your body? And then they flip the rainbow? Ain't that suspicious? You don't think that's suspicious? That's why I talk about intention. That's why in court, they don't give a fuck about none of that shit. You can walk from the M word, right? If your intention it checks out. If your intention checks out, you can walk. But if your intention don't check out, you ain't walking. That's why they care about intent and what you can prove. Can you prove the intent? They don't care what happened. They don't care who said what. They don't care how long this was going on, because you have common sense and you have a choice. Like I wrote a message on my community board, and even though we are survivors and thrivers coming out of abusive relationships, it was still our choice to stay for the amount of time that we stayed. That's why a lot of men don't talk about being abused by women, because a man is already feeling like, I made the choice to stay here. I made the choice to be in this relationship, so I can't put the responsibility on the woman being abusive to me when I'm here. I'm still here. So the man might be trying to figure a way out, and that way out might always be getting blocked, because the man don't know you're not supposed to talk to anybody about getting away from a narcissist. You're not supposed to tell anybody your plans. And if you yell and say, oh, I'm gonna leave you, that's just gonna make the narcissist even more cunning, even more sweet to you, so that you can stay. And then the longer you stay, because you keep getting honeypotted by the sweet talk and the sweet lies, the longer the hurt is going to be, and the longer the hurt is going to last, and the harder the betrayal is going to feel and hit once they hit you again, once they betray you again, once they hurt you again, and you decided to stay. That's why a lot of men don't talk about relationships and the issues that happen in the relationship. And a lot of men get locked up and go to the grave, and the woman, after the man passes on, that's when you start figuring out, this woman is this and this woman is that. And a lot of people in the communities don't hold the women accountable, because they're also doing the same thing to their men. Women love to put the black man down, the so-called black man. We come straight from you. So you mean to tell me For 20 to 30 years, you was raising a thug, a criminal, a woman beater, a abuser, somebody that is going to be posted on TV saying that he a deadbeat dad, he a ain't shit this, or he ain't that, and he ain't this, or he don't got that. So you raised us so you can shit on us. You abandoned us so you can feel good about yourself when you go and date that dude, and then you wind up missing. But you abandoned us. You told us to leave you alone. And I told y'all 5 years ago that black men are going to stop talking to fucking women, and they're going to stop going on dates. They're going to stop being married because I left my ex-wife because of the same abusive ass shit. So I'm carrying the flag. So you abandoned us. Now you want to shit on us while you sitting there with the white boy that got the money, and then you wind up missing. And now it's our responsibility to find you. Now it's our responsibility because we weren't protecting you. But I told you what was going to happen. Because I look like how I look, you didn't want to believe me. Because I look like a nobody to you. I'm the best motherfucking person that God could use for this. Because you see me as nobody. They saw Jesus as nobody. People, Jesus was betrayed by his friends. Jesus was betrayed by his friends. Yes, the Jewish community was the ones that carried out the order because the Jewish community at the time were in office. But Jesus was betrayed by his friends. Jesus wasn't betrayed by no Jew. Jesus wasn't betrayed by God. Jesus wasn't betrayed by anybody. Jesus was betrayed by his own brethren. Why do you think a lot of black men are in hermit mode, just playing games, building up websites, selling ideas, and just focusing on this? Focusing on this. Why would the man be focused on the same systems that we're sent to destroy us? Why would the man be focused on going to the schools that indoctrinate and lie to us, and we come out of the school in debt, thinking that we know something? So we know lies, and we're in debt, and we're abandoned, and we're looked at as a threat. You mean to tell me you gave birth to me and you would love to see somebody take my life? You gave birth to me and you would love to see somebody take my life. That's what you tell me when I see you do the things you do, when I see you carry yourself and behave in the way that you behave. Black woman, you gave birth to me and you want to see somebody take my life? So much so you be doing it yourself? That's how you feel about me, your son?